Well, hello, my fellow car maulers. How are you doing today? Yep, you guessed it. We're going to finally do, I think this is my first update. I don't know, it's been so long. Of the USACC build of the 55 Ford panel truck. I thought I'd squeeze out one more video for 2023. Happy New Year, everybody. Let's get into this. All right, well, I have been very busy these months while I should be building my USACC build. Yeah. Well, hadn't quite been working out the way I had hoped, but I've got the chassis all set. I've got the ride height. For those of you that don't know, Matthew from Model Car Videos gifted me the pickup version. So I have switched from doing the panel van to the pickup, and we've got the stance really good. Let's take a look here, moving the camera a bit. I was looking at this pickup body, and I just don't like the panel van, but I had been working on the chassis and all that for the panel van for quite a bit, trying to figure things out, because I lowered the front end. I used the kit front end that I did a video about why it is a Mopar front end, and here, let's show you. But I changed the rear, all the rear, because I just didn't like that independent suspension that was there, and I tried to get it lower, and all I did was just botch it all up. So if you can see, we've got ourselves a Ford 9-inch, and they're in trailing arms. That's all out of the Monogram Thunderbird kit. These trailing arms, the rear end, panhard bar, all that stuff. But I used the coilovers from the rear end suspension out of this, the independent rear suspension. I added this cross member here. I cut the cross member out. I'll tell you what I did with that when I cut the cross member out. That the center of the independent rear suspension bolts on there and is solid. We got rid of that, so we had room for our 9-inch. Here's what it looks like. I made a bracket here for the panhard bar to be solid to the frame, and that's pretty much all that. That's pretty much straight out of the NASCAR kit, all right here. Found where I needed to be there at the cross member, glued it down right there. I just shot some black paint on it. I did it fast, and I'm kind of in a hurry now, so it didn't turn out 100% happy with it. But what I'm building, I'm not building a replica of a real truck, but I'm very, very much of a tribute to a real truck from my past. It's really the vehicle that set me off in my road to wanting to be heavily involved in automobiles, working on and restoring and building hot rods and things like that, from a gentleman when I was in high school, a good friend of mine, his father. And I would go over to my friend's house and spend a lot of time out in his backyard. He had this shop that he built, and I would go out there and hang out and watch what he's building. And he was building a 56 Ford F100. I fell in love with these trucks from that truck of his. Even though this is the 55, the biggest difference, if you don't know, this A-pillar on the 56 is straight up and down. And there's a couple other things about the 56. It was the first year of the 12-volt system from a 6-volt system. So 56 is really popular, especially this is like 1985. And they were really popular choice vehicles to make hot rods out of. He didn't chop it. He didn't use the stock electrical. He really went, he completely built the truck from the ground up, but it was a driver. So I'm not gonna, that's what this is. I might dirty up the chassis a little bit, because you can see I've got some kind of flat spots here and there, because just did it real quick. but I wanted to get the look right. And so that truck, I'm pretty much going to paint it. It's all from memories. I have no pictures of this thing, but I remember it very well. It all goes down to I remember what he did. He actually did do this Mopar thing. That's how I knew about this. What he did for the rear end, I don't remember. This is all kind of like my made-up thing, something I would have come up with. And it's plausible because these trailing arms that the NASCAR race cars use, especially in '80, were out of the junkyard C10, Chevy C10 from the late 60s. I think they had these in the early 60s trucks too, but they're the trailing arms out of the trucks. That's why they're nicknamed truck arms, because they were literally out of the junkyard truck arms taken out and used on all the cars. Mid 70s they were doing that. It's plausible that, you know, one guy would have gone to the junkyard, would have sourced a 9-inch rear end, would have sourced the trailing arms and all that stuff. So it's very plausible to, you know, I think it works good with the front end being like an all out of the junkyard suspension cobbled together in some guy's garage or backyard. That was hot rodding. But that truck was really something special to me. It's never left my mind. As a matter of fact, I always wanted to build the model. And I had a set of wheels that I held on to since 1985 that the truck had, but I ended up not using them just because I knew one day I'd build the truck. The wheels are like in really bad shape, but he ran chrome Steelies with those moon dish hubcaps, and originally the AMT 72 Chevelle Street Machine version, it was called. I bought that kit and it had these wheels in it, and you can see how crusty. And I don't even have all 4 of them anymore. I literally held on to these to build a model of this truck. I wanted to build a model of his truck, you know, since back in '85. And there's one other thing that I pulled out of my box here that I held on to for years, and I'll get to that when we talk about the finish I got planned for this. So since this was pretty much all done for the panel van, that was a lot of work. I wasn't going to start all over again, but I had just decided I was going back and forth. I was really dragging and not feeling it for the panel van. I went, you know what? I pulled out the truck. I started figuring things out, and since they're the same exact kit, I don't have to really, I just swapped the chassis. I went with what I'd done on the panel van, and wham, this just fits right on there. It's so cool, and I've got my stance that I want. Let's see if you can see that. I'll show you a picture of it too. That's exactly where I want the wheels. I've got that look. This is how his sat. I remember it was really low in the front. I remember those front tires were tucked up, but it was, a nice rake. Back in those days, he was an older hot rodder. That's what they like, the nice rake. And so I really got the look I wanted with that right there. I think that's going to be cool. What I've got planned for the body, one thing I remembered about it was it's something I really loved too in old hot rods. It was just beige. He just painted it beige. It was so cool. So I've got this actually light sand. I kind of like this. I was looking at the beige. This is a little bit darker than I remember his truck, but it was just a neat color. It had a little more yellow to it, this light sand. So I just wanted a rattle can. I wanted to use this Tamiya, fresh Tamiya can. I love how these colors spray out. I'm gonna hit it with that. After I do, I got to do a little bit of, doesn't really need a lot of body work. I'm not doing any cutting or nothing. Parting lines, and get my primer and sanding, then get a nice, beautiful base coat down. But here's something that I have held on to. Maybe you can tell me. I think this is from one of the AMT. I don't remember, but it's a decal sheet from, I can't remember if it's a 57. I don't think it's a 50. I don't remember what decal sheet this is from. I've had this since the mid 80s, and I held on to it. If you can see, do you see those? And hopefully they look good, but you can kind of see the transfer paper when I do this. There's little white pinstriping, little like Von Dutch style squigglies and stuff. And there was a couple of squigglies I think it's these right here. I don't know if you can really see them because they're white. No, that's not even the right ones. No, here, these right here. I don't know if you can see them. You see those squigglies? You get a good look of those? Right there. I saved those squigglies for this project since the mid-'80s. Anybody want to tell me in the comments below what this decal sheet's from? Just to remind me. Take a good look at it. I do not remember. I only used a couple of things off of it. But I'm not sure. But anyways, I did. I held on to it for those pinstripes because I remember on the front, on the right here, on the hood, he did one of those right there, and he did it on the tailgate, and that was all the pinstripe that was on the truck from what I remember. So I wanted to do that. So if they look good, I'll put them on there. Hopefully the decals, if they still kind of lay good and not be too yellowed, I'll use them. That's really all I want to put on this when I get it painted that beige. As far as the bumpers and the grill, I was really thinking of doing them white. I can't remember if he had them chrome or white. I know that would be, I don't know. It's a vision I have, but then again, we've got these chrome wheels, so it might clash with the chrome wheels. Again, tell me what you think down in the comments. I like to hear your opinion on that. But these wheels, oh, so happy I found those wheels. And a buddy of mine suggested when I was saying, what's a good set of wheels? Plus, remember, another thing about those AMT wheels is they're 25th scale. This is a 24 scale. I'm using 24 scale tires from a different monogram kit. Wheels don't fit. So my buddy suggested, even though it's 25th scale, suggested the wheels that were in the AMT 34 Ford. And Andy had one of those for $20 down at the store from that collection that he still has a couple left. There's like maybe 90 kits left of that 3,000 kit collection he got over the summer. So I ran down there and picked that kit up, and those are the wheels. And I was like, wow, heck yeah. They look great. And I just took a little drop of panel liner, black Tamiya panel liner, and I dropped it down in that deepest groove just to give it some depth and shadowing, and I just love what it looks like. I posted pictures of it on my Facebook group, the Luka C Model Car Hobby Headquarters Facebook group. There were people saying it looked like brake dust was on them or nothing. I don't know. I don't know if you can see it on this, but they look pretty freaking chrome to me. It's just shadowing. I didn't put it on the wheel or the hubcap. I put it in that groove way down in there. Can we get focused? Will we get focused? Will it focus? And you can see, look at that. Let's get really close. Ooh. Whoa. So, that was fun. Oh, wow. I got a headache now. Beige. We've got the chassis all set up. I'm probably going to do a simple interior. I'm kind of in a rush now. We got only about 3 weeks left. I'm always down to the wire. I don't know what's going to happen. Now, my engine, of course, I'm not going with the stock engine. Because something that he did that's a kind of a neat little story is there was a train wreck with brand new cars on it. And so he got at the auction a brand new 1985 IROC Z28. I remember hearing about this, and I go over to their house, and he opens up the garage, and there sits this beautiful shiny red, brand new, no miles on it, 85 IROC Z28 that the roof is down to the door. It's just like flattened, but the rest of the car is perfect. And what it was, there was a train derailment, and it went flying off of the train cars and flipped onto its lid. So he picked that up real cheap. He just wanted it for the engine and drivetrain. So that's what I'm going to put in this, because I have kind of a background with those engines. I love the 85 Corvette and what was in the IROCs and the Trans Ams, 85, 86, that tune port fuel injection. So that's what I want to go for in this model. I rigged up some motor mounts right there. I can't get it in there right now with the body on, but it fits in there good. And it's just, that is a neat 80s look. It was a popular thing to do back in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, when you started being able to find those setups in the junkyard and stuff. and it was just a popular hot rodding thing to do to kind of modernize. It's like an LS swap today, but back then it was the thing to put one of those tune port fuel injections from GM in those in all the hot rods. So I wanted to do that. Now I got this from, if you guys are familiar with the Monogram Monte Carlo SS, it actually came with a tune port fuel injection. Even though those cars didn't come from the factory with it, it was an option in the model kit. So this is just the engine and transmission out of one of those Monte Carlos, and I just sourced out all of that, the whole engine and the tune port fuel injection. So that's what's going to go in there. That's my plan for the engine. 3 weeks. Wow. Holy cow. Got to get working on this. But that's where I'm at with this. I'm really tickled that I'm building basically that truck that I've always wanted to build. As far as a 56, it don't matter that much. For the longest time, I was looking for the perfect 56. The only 56 Ford that was ever available, and I bought it once, it was just not a good kit, was Revell's, and I think it had opening doors, and it was one of those old ones. That was the only 56 up until, the Foose truck, but that's too modernized, and I had never really thought about using the Foose truck to build this. This is the USACC build. It seems right. I'm not so particular. Like I said, don't even have pictures, and it's not a famous car. Nobody's going to tell me I'm kind of not doing the right thing, because this is a tribute out of memory. 100% what I remember this truck 30 something years ago. So yeah, like 36 years ago was the last time I saw that truck. So that is what I'm going with, is strictly off of memory. It's going to look so cool. Beige, the tune port fuel injection under the hood, the little squigglies on the tailgate and on the front of the hood. I gotta do a shout out to my buddy Dan Doan with his knowledge of model cars. I was just sent him a picture and go, "What kit has those wheels?" And he says, "You should check this kit out." And I did say, but it's the problem I have is they're 24th. Everything's got to be 24th. Well, they're 25th wheels, but they fit in those 24th tires pretty good. So when I got those wheels all mounted and looking, in the truck, what it's going to look like, I was like, yeah, that's how it's going to be. So that's so fun. That's a fun thing about this hobby and friends and having a ball. Because, isn't that why we build model cars? What is it? Why do we build model cars? Oh, yeah, because they're fun. Here's the producers.